Esmeralda is an extraordinary story. The book was written out of a desire to bring attention to the Cathedral of Notre Dame, which at that time was falling to pieces. This was in 1830. Was falling to pieces after the French Revolution. So many buildings were badly damaged, so many things were destroyed, and it was thought that this church should be pulled down to make room for more people, to make room for houses. And it's through, largely through this book, Notre Dame, that people became aware of just what a treasure they had, and thus it was saved. It is said in the book that Victor Hugo, the author, went into the cathedral and found inscribed on one of the stone columns the word fate, F-A-T-E, and that seems to be the driving factor throughout this story, that it is a lot about fate, about the fate of Esmeralda, the beautiful gypsy girl, the fate of Quasimodo, the fate of the Archdeacon Frollo, who represents the church, and the fate of all the people that come into contact with this extraordinary lady. And the ballet really focuses very much on that, the relationships to this extraordinarily powerful, strong-willed and virtuous woman. In revisiting this work, I wanted to make sure that I could really deal with some issues that I have struggled with for the last 12 years. Every time this production has come back, whether it's been in New Zealand or Australia or Europe or in Boston Ballet, it was a big production. We staged this in Boston, it's been in Atlanta and Colorado. Every time it's come back, there have been certain sections that I've always felt a little bit unhappy with and never really had the time to do anything about it. This time I promised myself, in bringing this back for our fabulous Milwaukee Ballet audience, that I would make the time to make sure I could look at those areas that I'd always had concern about. And that I have done. I've enjoyed immensely revisiting this fabulous, fabulously theatrical work. I've loved being able to delve into it with so much more perhaps understanding of the story, but you know, I'm older, I'm wiser, so I guess I'm using a lot more of the maturity that I've developed as a director and bringing that into the production. As with all my dramatic work, I like to try and personalize it for the company that we're working with. So this is no exception. I'm really working with the incredible talents of my fabulous company, my fabulous dancers, and bringing that out. Yes, I'm adding some more steps. I'm changing steps. I'm having new lighting done by David Grill. I'm trying to make things that will bring it a little bit closer to our audience. It's always been a story that's incredibly relevant to all audiences. It deals with big social issues. It deals with the fundamental issues of disability. Here is a deformed man, and a Quasimodo, a hunchback. People recoil from him in fear. They believe he's evil and he's dangerous, and nobody in this story could have a bigger, more generous and sweeter heart. And he is, after all, our hero. He is the one that tries to rescue Esmeralda. So he is the person that I believe is the hero, and the one with the real gentle innocence and the goodwill, whereas he's surrounded by a civilization, a time in history, the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, when man's inhumanity to man was just extraordinary. They could be as happy hanging somebody one second as marrying somebody the next. They oscillated from one extreme to the other. A horrific time when in history when the church was controlling everything and wanting to control more and deciding who should and should not be in power, and anybody who stood in its way was done away with. The Spanish Inquisition. It was all a sense of a time when everything was so corrupt and dark. This production is dark. It is dark by the nature of the story, but it's packed with fabulous, fabulous dancing, fabulous music by Philip Feeney, who wrote Dracula, Peter Pan. What a talent, what a talent. He's created a medieval-sounding score that has incredible dynamics, so romantic. For a composer and dear friend who professes not to be a romantic, it's hard to imagine that after listening to this score. David Grill, fabulous lighting designer, is going to redo all of the lighting. I don't think I've missed anybody else out. The only thing that's missing at the moment is you. We need you to come and join us, be in the theatre, and be a part of this production. We have only 4 performances, so don't delay. I urge you to see this. This may be the last time it comes back to Milwaukee. I'd love you to see it. I'm very proud of it, as indeed I'm very proud of my company and everybody who works for the Milwaukee Ballet. And I thank you, our audience and our patrons, for choosing to be with us.